I had reservations at first. I think any reasonable person would. I'd gone through a divorce merely 5 years earlier and was going to make damn sure I avoided hasty decisions when it came to women. I've been dating actively almost ever since the divorce and knew I would eventually get married again, but I was definitely not in a hurry. And then she appeared out of nowhere. She messaged me on the Lucky Hunting dating site. She was from Ukraine, not classically beautiful, but attractive, with an alluring smile on her face in every one of her profile pictures. She complimented me on one of my profile pictures and simply asked if I'd like to communicate. After I established this was not spam and she was a real person, we started Skyping regularly. She became a part of my daily routine, part of my life. We would have date nights through our webcams, watching the same movie in our living rooms, or having dinner at the same time talking about our days. After a couple of months, she flew in from New York and we spent a week in the small town on the Florida coast where I have resided for the past 15 years. We had a fantastic time, couldn't keep our hands off each other. A month later, I visited her in New York, and before I knew it, she moved into my bachelor pad in the small town by the ocean. My friends thought I was crazy. She is here for the weather, they would tease me. Why would someone from New York move to this place? And it's not like you have money, they would laugh. But they were concerned too. You don't know. What if she's here to use you? They speculated over different possibilities, reasons why she chose me, U.S. citizenship, mild climate. I was convinced she simply fell in love with me, although I would lie if I said I never wondered whether she would leave one day. But I was never one to give in to peer or public pressure, never jumped on the bandwagon, always did my thing. So, when she asked me to marry her, I decided to go for it. You don't even know her. She's too exotic for you. You are too kind, generous. She'll take advantage of you, my friends kept saying. I ignored all of their concerns. I watched her dance alone on the dance floor in a small bar she convinced me to go to. I wasn't much into bars or dancing. I was more of a homebody, and I didn't feel like going. But I wanted to make her happy. Now I watched her dance. Her eyes closed, her long blonde hair flowing around her. Her slim body moving smoothly in a tight and revealing glittering dress, balancing masterfully on her high heels. Her new wedding ring, a tiny thing, as I couldn't afford more at the time, was glittering on her left hand as she ran her fingers through her hair. She was smiling with her eyes closed, dancing seductively. She is too much for you. She'll use you and leave. The voices of my friends kept echoing in my head, stirring doubts. But she didn't leave me. We had a great marriage and went to Jamaica for our 10th anniversary. After the initial friction of getting to know each other's differences, of which there were many, we learned to live together as partners. She had a job she loved, working as an administrative assistant at a local high school, while I continued my progress towards tenure at a small university nearby teaching psychology classes. We saw our families who lived in other parts of the country from time to time. We traveled and went hiking with our 2 dogs. Life was good. That is until I noticed her bag. It was a large black travel bag. My wife would take this bag to work every day to carry her lunch or laptop or water bottle, various knickknacks as she puts it. Nothing out of the ordinary. Many women carry around large black bags every day. But then, one day, I noticed she washed that bag every day. Every single night after she came home from work, I realized that every night she had an excuse to do a small load of black laundry, and she would always throw the bag in with the laundry. I started paying attention, and the more I did, the more puzzled I became. Why would she be washing that damn bag every night? Moreover, she would do it as soon as she got home. I noticed that the items she carried in the bag with her in the morning, she would return with them in a different, separate bag. When I asked, "Are you washing that bag again tonight?" she just laughed it off and said she'll start on the dinner as soon as she was done with the loading up of the washing machine. I became increasingly bothered, but found the whole occurrence as well as my worries ridiculous and unsubstantiated. Then, one day, I took action that changed my life forever. I was standing in the kitchen, chopping onions and tomatoes for the spaghetti marinara I was making for dinner. My wife came home from the office, kicked our heels off, slammed the front door behind her, dropped her purse and her other bags onto the floor, and ran to the bathroom. "Gotta pee," she yelled before she shut the door. I wish I had continued chopping the vegetables in. Instead, I made a move that is my most profound regret. As soon as the bathroom door closed, I seized the opportunity, hastily wiped my hands, and hurried towards her bags. Part of me knew that once I looked into that bag, things might never be the same again. I was suddenly overcome with adrenaline and didn't hesitate. I grabbed the bag and started to open while bringing it closer to my face, trying to see what was inside. It was dark in the hallway, so I couldn't see, but I cringed at the foul smell that came from inside the bag. It smelled like dead fish or blood. What the f***? I thought to myself. I peered inside and carried the bag to the kitchen. Once under the light, I saw what was inside and gagged. I was in total disbelief. It wasn't so much the fact that it was a real human finger severed from someone's hand or the horrible smell coming from my wife's bag. It was the shocking realization that even after living for 10 years with someone, they can surprise you in a way that is as dramatic and shocking as this. What the I kept asking. Holding that disgusting thing in between my own fingers, still attached to my own hand. Yet, even in the state of shock, I still believed there could be an explanation for this. A perfectly reasonable explanation for my wife carrying a freshly severed, bloody human finger in her bag on the way home from another day in the office. Maybe one day we'll laugh about this, I thought, still hopeful, but suddenly paralyzed, unable to move. I saw her come out the bathroom. Seeing me holding the bloody severed finger, a flash of surprise crossed her face, then immediate resolution. She quickly returned to the bathroom just as I started saying, "What the f***?" Again, still staring at her. Within seconds, she emerged swiftly from the bathroom. She walked up to me and caressed my neck, which is typical when she's about to expertly change my current mood to raw, unbridled passion. Except this time, I felt a small stab of pain right at my shoulder blade. I went out almost immediately and woke up 3 days later. So now, I'm in this dark room. It seems in a basement somewhere in a remote area, far from civilization. I've been here for a few days now, locked inside this room in the basement. There is a small window covered in wire through which I can see the cloudy sky. I might not even be in Florida anymore. There is a toilet here and they bring me food regularly. I don't know what their plan is with me, but it doesn't look promising. Sometimes I hear them talking behind the door. The distinct voice of my wife mixed with voices of 4 or 5 men all speaking Russian. Sometimes they argue, and sometimes it sounds like she might be crying as she yells out words I don't understand. What I still can't believe is this. How could I have lived with this woman for 10 years, go to bed with her, and wake up next to her every single day and not have a single shadow of suspicion? Although I still don't know what's going on, I suppose it's some kind of organized crime organization that they're all part of. Thoughts are running through my head like crazy. Are they mafia? What kinds of activities has she been part of while we were together? Was she directly involved in disposing of people? I mean, she did spend every Sunday morning talking on the phone in Russian for hours. She said she was talking to her family. We got a special home landline plan with free international calls just for her so she could keep in touch with her mom and dad. I never once questioned those calls. I even met her parents twice when we traveled to Ukraine after we got married, and never doubted the authenticity of our experiences together. Maybe they were a real family, but they might have been actors. We even joked once after another one of her 2-hour calls in Russian that she was a Russian spy. We had a good laugh about this. But this? I'd never imagined I would end up this way. I just can't believe I never once had any suspicions. 10 fucking years! My wrists hurt from the metal handcuffs that cut into my skin. The handcuffs are attached to a big silver chain that is attached to a radiator. I don't know what they are going to do with me. Sometimes when they argue, it sounds as if she was trying to convince them of something. Maybe that I won't talk if they let me go. A small sliver of hope is still keeping me going. After all, we spent 10 years together. Shouldn't that count for something? Regardless of what happens to me, if anyone is reading this, please don't hurt my family. I swear, they don't know anything. I don't know anything. I didn't see anything. All I saw was that damn finger.